The great thing about having to replace this literally 4 times is that you get really good at taking it apart.
I'm the master of cylinders now.
He is the master of the masters.
Master cylinder number 3, new one. And I'm going to try some different stuff. Last time, first one I bled in the car, and the cylinder was bad. It didn't work. Even though I got all the air out of it. Did get all the air out of it, it just didn't work. This one, last one I bench bled without a bench. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And hopefully this one will work. I'm actually bought a vacuum bleed system for the lines to make sure that there's no air in the system before we use this in any way.
How expensive is that vacuum bleed system? Anyway?
I got a good one, so I got a pretty good one, so it was about $60, but you can get them as cheap as $20. And the show setup, putting the lines in. I just find it easier to do this before it's mounted to this board, and once again, doing a bench bleed without having a bench clamp. So it's a C clamp and a post.
It's pretty much anywhere you can freaking get it onto it, like a table or something, and clamp it down. And
I will tighten these down a little bit more once I have it on. It's just, like I said, it's easier to start this way. Here on the end.
Just C-clamping it to the end of the post there. So technically, I think since you're doing it this way, you can do this with a table leg.
Yeah, you can do it with a table leg. You can do it with a bench surface. If you don't have a vise, you don't have to worry about it. You just need a C-clamp. They are cheaper than a vise. And then something solid to clamp it to. Clamp it good so it stay put. And make sure it's level. I have checked this. It's pretty close to level. But it should be level, which even workbenches often aren't yet level. Now I'll tighten these up. They don't have to be super tight just so they don't leak. And yes, this one, the one on the back has different threads, not because it's different threaded, it's because they only give you one of each of these. And so there's not another one of those. And I found it seals well enough that it doesn't leak, so.
Can I, since I'm doing it this way, can I overpressurize the valve myself and punch through or something?
You shouldn't be able to. You're supposed, if you got a master cylinder that's got an issue, which is possible here, but generally you're just going to use a good heavy screwdriver that'll fit in where the piston does for the brake, and you'll push it all the way through once you have fluid in, with the lines run back in so it bleeds out the air that's in the system. Because if there's a bubble still in this cylinder, it will not work.
Okay. And
I went to the vacuum bleed system because I was told these were pretty delicate and pretty prone to, I was warned that you might end up with a bunch of them. But I'm not sure that the thing isn't failing when we're using it to bleed the system. And that is why I bought a vacuum bleed system for the lines. That way, by the time this goes into use, it will have it will have no chance of having air get back into it, which could cause the rings to erode. Or for back pressure. I said, I don't know why. I just know that this is number 3 of the new ones. And the old one failed while I was bleeding the brakes on the new brakes, so.
True. So they get delicate and finicky.
What you do is just fluid's in there, got the lines in, and you start pushing that. When I start, I don't push it all the way. I just try to get fluid started.
Okay, so you're not trying to jam it all the way to the front. You're just
you
trying
will
to move
at the end. At the end, you want to jam it all the way to the front, but you want to make sure you get fluid going in there, so that you don't have. You're not doing it when there's no fluid to lubricate those rings.
I'm trying to get the air bubbles going through that tube there. Because if you can't see that, there is air bubbles flowing through that tube right now.
Yeah.
To go
And you
want to
keep going until the air bubbles are gone.
Yeah.
And of course one came out. Always got to be one. So then you get to start over. This thing has a float in it for level sensor, and it makes it a little hard to get the lines in there good. It seems to be moving good, and you do push as far as you can and make sure you're clearing all the way to the back of the cylinder, because you gotta have no air.
But I'm guessing you don't oath strength it though.
You shouldn't have to, because it should just go back.
There we go.
And they make clips for these too, which the clips that came with this kit doesn't work with this one. They're for the big old ones, big old metal ones. So the good news is this one's already building more pressure than any of the others I've worked on, because I've never had one put enough pressure through one of these lines to kick the line out.
True, that's really good news. That was bad news, but we'll see.
All right, all the air's bled out, and I will, if I can get these lines to stay where they need to be. And I will make a note here, because something I didn't think about, but it does do it. This has a hood sensor, and even though there's no light under here, if you leave the hood up, it will run your battery down.
Good to know.
Oh, and now doing this yet again.
High quality Chinesium at work. Failed during the installation.
Looks like it might be seeping fluid too.
Good Lord, we never even used it. Literally.
Yeah. See if I remember what sizes are. Yep, that's 10.
So 10 millimeter
And this should be 12. Yep.
and 12 millimeter. So 10 and 12 is your bolt sizes.
I'm doing this racing potential range yet again.
Always right now. We always have rain.
And I cannot get anyone to call me back about a carport, so.
Well, we can get some 2x4s and a couple of tarts.
Yeah, I can build one. I just was going to do it because I don't have the stuff for the all metal ones. And metal's cheaper than wood right now, but.
Yeah. If you'd like to see Karl building things around the house and build like carports and things, be sure to drop us a line and say, hey, put those up or something. Like some sort of please show that or something.
You want to learn to build a carport. You want to learn how to build a carport.
Yeah.
Or a garage. I've still not decided. It'd probably be a carport. I don't think I can afford a garage.
Well, we'll start with a carport, and if it gets popular enough, maybe we can swing into a garage or something.
Well, if I end up building it, definitely. Metal ones I've been trying to look at. How did that get open? Diagnostic port was open. There we go. And I found these little pins are great for holding these.
Until you forget they're there.
And then it still do a good job of holding them. They were still there. Alright, that's off. Now I gotta take those lines off.
You might want to. The great thing about having to replace this literally 4 times is that you get really good at taking it apart.
I'm the master of cylinders now.
He is the master of the masters. I feel like you need to be wearing a green jacket when you say that. Standing out in the middle of a freshly mowed lawn.
Oh yeah, that reminds me.
Bad golf jokes remind you?
Yeah, I've got to drain the fluid out of that or it's going to make a mess. Alright, first one I'm not going to put back in the bottle. I'm going to use it to make sure the syringe is good and clean. And dump it into my waste bottle.
And y'all thought he was going to squirt it on the ground.
Normally I don't save it, but this is new stuff, and I've been going through a lot of brake fluid. And this is just a $1 injection baster thing from Dollar Tree.
So kitchen appliances can come in handy when you're working on your car.
With the end clipped off.
Kind of reminds me of those Ron Popeil freaking flavor injectors you get. Because that's what people want to bite into when they bite into a turkey, is a huge clove of garlic.
That's gonna be all I can get out with this thing. Should be enough that it won't make a mess everywhere. Salvage some of it anyways. Now I'll put the lid back on. This time I'm returning it and getting a refund because I had to pay for the other one because I didn't want the line sitting off for very long. I just spent so much time bleeding the lines this last time. Make sure there was no air anywhere.
Yeah.
And off it comes again. The benefits of thread lock, but you can see, yeah, see what the brake fluid's already done to the bare metal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brake fluid's already ate into it. Since it's corrosive.
Only mildly, but it's enough to make it, to speed up oxidation, so.
Yep, and highly flammable.
Fluid donation.
Oh,
If I can get it off. This thing's a new cylinder and that is stiff. Hey, it's still full, so it don't need it don't need it. So whatever drained the fluid out of the back did not take much fluid because it hasn't moved. Jeep, they fix themselves sometimes.
He said Jeeps, they fix themselves sometimes.
It's drained the battery out again though.
They break themselves sometimes too, apparently.
Yep. There we go.
I would say make sure you mark it so you know which one is old, but this one has kind of got to tell.
Yep, the rust is kind of telling you.
But if you're running into that issue where you're having to keep replace new ones, sometimes it's a good idea to mark the old part so you don't get confused.
Already noticing a difference in the manufacturing from this one and that one. Not a whole lot of difference, just a little bit. So I don't know, maybe that one will be better. Same company, they're all brand new. These are all supposed to be brand new. And tomorrow I get my money back, hopefully, for this one.
Yep. All $2.37.
Well, almost 60 bucks.
Yeah, hopefully you do get your money back on that one.
Now we start doing the transition again. Master cylinder. Loosen the clamp. This time I'm not going to undo it all the way, just in case I'm doing this again. And this one, that is a reference so you can see fluid level. It's not supposed to have fluid in it, although I keep getting fluid in it, so. And we have company.
Yep. Apparently one of the neighborhood cats had decided to stop by and try to assist us.
Okay.
Putting the 12mm bolts back on the 12mm hole.
With the lock washer, don't forget the lock washer.
And with the lock washer, yes. And if the lock washer is still not springy, then Karl's got a bucket full of them somewhere or something.
I probably do, if I can get this to stay on, so I can get this bolt on. I forgot, I do the other one first. Do the other one first. I'm stubborn though, I started this one, so I'm gonna keep going.
Apparently, do the one closest to the lines first.
Yeah, it helps pull that in. And I forgot that it's easier to get on, give it a little better leverage, and it'll help pull that inside one in so you can get it on better. And there goes the washer. Now I'll get another one.
Alrighty.
I don't see it anywhere. I know it's there, but I don't know where it is. So, 112mm locking washer. And new lock washer.
And we're recording. Alright, new lock washer.
I think it's just been on and off so much that now it's wanting to be pulled forward.
Perhaps.
There we go. Alright. Need a left-handed wrench.
With the right-handed holster.
Wish I could find where my socketing 12mm went to. That would be convenient. It's hiding somewhere.
It's probably somewhere in this KIA.
Probably. Actually, I think what happened is I used it on something else, and I don't remember what, and it's probably still there.
Yeah, it could be.
There we go, good and tight.
Good and tight.
Alright, now, where'd I put the lid? There's the lid. Minus the spider web. I'm putting the lid on so the fluid doesn't drain out too much when I'm taking these off.
So there won't be a draw where the fluid can pull from the top and go to the bottom.
Yeah, it'll
physics,
leak a
high
little
school
bit.
physics.
Yeah, it'll leak a little bit, but it won't leak at all. Come back here. How are you actually going down the engine block?
Wind. High school physics, like I said.
I don't know why this kit only gives you one of each thread type on this side. They give you two on all the other thread types and sizes, not on this one.
Got it mostly together. Didn't lose a lot of fluid that time.
I'm letting it bleed just a little bit, make sure any air gets out of it, and tighten it down.
Right.
Not very long, just a second or two. And I gotta get those plastic threads out of there too. Oops. That's a 12, not a 10.
Yep, we need the 10. Yeah, when you tighten these, make sure you don't tighten so much you snap your lines.
Yeah, or round the bolts.
Yeah.
This one's been on and off so far. There we go. Though there's one side that's a little rounded, and that was what I was on, of course, trying to get the last tightness on it. It should be good. I'll check it for leaks again after everything's together. Now, something I am going to do, since I had to do this before, since those are in, I am actually going to loosen these to bleed. Gravity bleed this stuff. Going to the partitioning valves.
These valves on the side over here. I know it's kind of hard to see from our angle. I apologize.
Yeah.
If I could make the side of the car see-through, I would. I ain't got that kind of a budget. Speaking of which, if you subscribe, it'll help me get an actual budget.
Well, last step on this one, I'm just putting the sensor in. It has a float in here that reacts to what's likely a magnet in here. And it just slides in. Out of the way. There we go.
Yep.
And then it plugs in. And oh yeah, that's still got plenty of dielectric grease on it.
And dielectric grease, of course, because corrosion sucks.
Yeah.
And if you're not sure if it has a magnet in it or not, well, and you followed along like us, go ahead and disassemble one of your old ones, because you probably have 3 of them.
Yeah. And then next step, you see the vacuum kit there. I'll be opening it up and I'll start vacuum bleeding all the brakes. So it'll be the 6th time I've bled the brakes on this project. So, useful things. Keeping the good feed sacks so you can have something to lay on when you have to work in wet, muddy areas. The paper ones don't work very good, but these canvas ones, they're good to have. They're actually a pretty useful bag. If you don't feed livestock, well, then find someone that does. They have plenty of them.
Exercise mat works good in a pinch.
Yeah, tarp, anything.
Yeah, but your wife or whoever yoga friend may get angry if you're using their yoga mat to do this with. By may, I mean definitely will. And you don't want to make somebody that flexible angry.
Although it can be amusing.
I don't know. Jake the Snake Roberts was going on and on about how Diamond Dallas Page's yoga is like the most amazing thing in the world. If you haven't seen that Joe Rogan one.
Okay. Got it loose. Set it as far away as possible from yourself to make it difficult. Alright, now let's see.
And there we go. There's air bubbles coming out.
And I am keeping it up at an up angle so there's fluid backflow into the stop.
Yeah, we can't.
But I'm just letting you know, that's why I have one hand's off site. And I've built vacuum up so I don't have to keep pumping. I'm letting it drain it down.
I like it's going clear through the tube, but into the bottle it looks like swamp water.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm probably giving dummy advice here, but make sure y'all are checking your reservoir when you're doing this, because you can...
Yep. Nice thing about doing it with this is you kind of see what's coming out. You have an idea for volume, which is beneficial.
True. So all in all, I thought that vacuum bleeding the brakes would be like really hard and complicated. It doesn't seem that.
No, it's not that hard. It's just getting the reason why I didn't do it before is because I didn't have the stuff to do it. I need a vacuum kit anyways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your amazing ocean spray bottle seemed to be doing the trick. Just not anymore, I guess.
Yeah, it'll still get fluid, but actually I'm probably going through less fluid this way. It's probably a lot less wasteful on the brake fluid. Oh, now it's doing good. No more air coming through. It's looking good.
From driver's side rear, again, vacuum bleed, same process.
Yeah, except for it's 8mm instead of 9mm.
Oh.
I only have the one 9mm. I don't think it's either the only original or it was a replacement, and like everything else on this vehicle, it's threaded for a 9mm, but they did an 8mm size.
Yeah.
Which seems to be the theme on this is when you replace threads, you either have to go to a standard or a larger metric. This one's saying it's tired of being bled. This one's always a pain.
Tell it it's got to wake up and do its job, dang it.
This one's a pain because you got a brake line in your way.
So, just to get you up, we've just bled back 2 brakes. By we, I mean I kind of stood there and watched. And we've checked on the reservoir. It was at minimum, so we added more fluid in there. A little overfilled, but it'll be okay.
Yeah, I had some difficulty. I don't know how well this one's bled because I can't get my hands in there well enough to make a tight seal. So it was pulling fluid, but it was also pulling air anytime I got some good pressure on it.
Yeah.
But I don't think any air was coming out of the system, so I think we're okay. Got a bunch of, I got a lot of junk fluid out of the other side, which is good. It was bleeding clean. I know the patch sides bled well. I was going to try to put this little small line on it, because I've done that before. and but I could not get in there. My hand's too big. And there's no space because you have the shock, the spring, and the brake line all in the way.
That would have just become a part of the car. It'd have been like, yeah, this ain't ever coming back out again.
Which wouldn't have been a problem, but I just put a cap on it. But it's one of those, I could get in there to do that.
Yeah.
These are easy to get to once you turn the wheel, luckily.
Okay.
I got a piece of low line. I'm going to slide it in the bigger line because I'm having issues with this big line making a good seal on these small 8mm outlets.
Yeah.
So,
well, he's sliding the little line in there.
but
Never mind.
right now this one, it goes on, but I'm trying to get a good vacuum and it's letting air bleed in, so I'm going to try this, see if it works.
Okay. Okay, what's going on?
Well, I have bled these brakes so many times that the new stop cock is stripped. So I found one of the old ones. That's once again so I say save old parts. And I'm going to use vice grips to get the new ones off. And then put this one on. So I'm just using it to get size.
And again, it's going to be in a weird, awkward position. I ain't going to be able to get under there with him to show you anything, really. So, yeah, unfortunately, we'll see you on the other side of this one.
Yep.
All right, 3 down, a sneeze, and 1 to go.
All right, well, in theory, I should have brakes. They've all been bled. I had the bleed valve on the front new brake stripped off. The front brake ones, instead of being 8mm like the old ones, are now 5/16. That was what it was, yeah, 5/16. So, don't use 8mm. Had to file one down to 7mm. Got that done. Then bled that brake very thoroughly. Taking stop gas on and off.
Very thoroughly.
Kept one of the old ones, put it on there, and it stripped off. It was 8mm and it stripped off. It was just old. It didn't quite fit.
Yeah.
They were too long for the new brakes.
Yeah,
So it never stopped it. Stopped the flow.
Yeah, pardon us. We just have somebody driving a lawnmower right by our house.
Yeah.
On the road.
Yeah, they're not mowing. They're just driving somewhere.
Huh.
Going to pick up a beer.
Probably.
And this is, WD-40 needs good because they were absolutely soaked in brake fluid. And it will, it left alone, left without some sort of treatment, it will corrode the stuff.
Yeah, so if you get your tools covered in brake fluid, make sure you get them cleaned properly. All right, and up next, we're going to clean off after we get finished doing that.
Yep, I got to put everything up, clean off, and then start it up and see if I have brakes. I might have brakes.
May be over. You may have brakes. No?
Until I started, but he's building up pressure. I don't know. Maybe the booster is over boosting it way too much. But if it is, then even though you don't have any pedal fill, you should have brakes. So we'll see. I'll move it again.
Yeah. have brakes. Maybe not.
It's more brakes than I've had, but still no brakes.
Yeah, because he is stopping some.
On that cylinder.
And your brake rotors up here are starting to get clean.
I have brakes, but I don't have brakes.
Maybe you're low on fluid?
Probably full still. Yeah, I've bled everything every which way, so.
I'm grasping at straws. You realize that, right?
That's the more I bled it.
Yeah, I figured it is. What's that?
There's no fluid showing up anywhere for a leak. And this is from the master cylinder itself, and those lines I can see, and they're not leaking anywhere that I can see.
Yeah. In such a situation, I don't know. You might not want to go much further back that way. You're about to run into that post. So, it's breakable?
It brakes, but not right. Something else is wrong, but the master cylinder, this master cylinder actually does seem to be working. It's just, I still have, when the car is off, I can build up pressure, but it's almost, I think it's possible the linkage has shifted and it's not actually traveling far enough. Otherwise, I don't know. That's the only thing I've got left, because the booster's actually over boosting, which that means you don't have any pedal fill, but that shouldn't mean it goes to the floor and you don't have any brakes. That would be more, that's a different problem.
Yeah. So brakes are spongy, but they stoppy. Brakes are spongy, but stoppy. Don't you love my technical terms?
Okay, now what I'm checking is I've got the original master cylinder here. The newest master cylinder works some, but isn't working properly. So what I'm going to check is how deep that plunger is supposed to go in, which there's all nice kinds of junk built up around that. So gives a nice spot. I'm using the one that I know failed and seeing what the depth difference is. And it does in fact go in a little deeper. It actually goes in quite a bit deeper. Because right there is this one. Right there is that one. So I'm losing from where that junk is to where my fingertip is in movement, that junk.
Yeah.
So that's a good 1/4 of an inch. So I've lost 1/4 inch of my brakes. That's probably why it's going to the floor and not building. So I've got to put a spacer in there, so this will travel further. It's also, that's full travel on that one. Full travel matches up at least.
Yeah, it's just the rubber in the side is not matching up then, right? Or
it's the rod. It's where it's sitting in. This one goes deeper, so the rod travels further before it starts activating the brake. Like I said, by about a 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch.
So you're going to put a spacer in between the brake master cylinder and that?
I've got to put a spacer in here.
Yeah.
Too. And what's interesting, if you notice this one, it blew the bottom one out, it didn't blow the inside. The inside failed again.
Yeah.
So There's another bag full of fluid, so I gotta deal with that. And I'm out of paper towels.
Oh boy.
So, all right, but
All right.
that's gonna be next step, to figure out how to make a spacer for it.
Which is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. All right.
Okay, chewing gum,
It's too squishy.
splunch hammer.
I'm more worried about the fact it's dumping fluid everywhere. Well, since I need a spacer, I found a nut that's about the right diameter and it's about the right width. So I'm just going to put it in front of the shaft and the pushy and the cylinder, so that there's more rod basically.
It's not going to like fall down somewhere or something.
Nowhere for it to fall. Worst that'll happen is it'll end up that way instead of that way, and then I've got way too much spacer, which will be another problem, but I'll worry about that if it happens.
Alrighty.
But mainly just taking this back and this off again and getting it in there in front of the rod.
An engine is warm engine. So.
Yeah, hot engine. It's been sitting running. I let it recharge the battery and get some running in.
Yep, that.
And contemplated, moved it over. They can't argue that it hasn't been moved at all now because it's a clear KIA length over from where it was. So,
yeah, our town gets picky. You can't let a car sit for like 15 minutes or something. I don't know.
30 days. If a car sits in the same spot for more than 30 days, they ticket you.
Yeah, it's just, I find funny.
So if you take a 31-day vacation, you're going to have a ticket for every car at your property.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe one day you'll see a Krazy Karl projects has moved and will be in a different spot that isn't so. I'm looking for non-4-letter words.
And it's kind of hard. Up their own rear end.
Yeah. As this place is.
Yeah, it's one thing they've had it a long time. You've had to have it tagged, registered, insured.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't, it was deemed an abandoned or junked car, and you'd be fined for that. Well, recently they've changed how they do that. Now it's if you have a car that hasn't moved in 30 days. Even if it's tagged, insured, running, doesn't matter. Hadn't moved in 30 days, they ticket you.
What if you just want it as lawn art?
Yep, they don't allow that anymore.
Why those jerks? And believe me, I sound sarcastic, but I do want to use a stronger word than jerks. But this is YouTube, so we're going to say not nice people.
Oh yeah, I found the washer. If I can get this washer back off, I'll put the right one on.
I say leave the one you got on. It ain't hurting nothing.
Oh, it's not near as big as the original.
Okay. There we go. Put it in as approved, Krazy Karl approved bolt holster. Since he's got a bolt holster. There it is. Bolt holster, bolt holster. Would be a bolt holster. There it goes. Now it's a bolt holster.
I think that's the right one. Put it in a thing full of washers, and a lot of them I know aren't the right ones. Yeah, I think that's the right one. Yeah.
I got it in your approved bolt holster. Krazy Karl approved bolt holster.
Now, to try to get this in where it goes, because it's just putting this nut in this cylinder.
Trying to get back there. Sorry if I'm bumping things with the microphone.
And I was going to use the screw to push it in. There we go. And then put this all back together, hopefully. I think it turned wrong. Exactly what I said. If it turned wrong, I have a whole another problem. Yep, it turned wrong. It has wedged itself down at the bottom somehow, halfway back.
There we go. Sorry about the poor lighting. That's what we get when we work outside.
Yeah, pliers.
The nut has apparently fallen in sideways, and so we're trying
No,
to...
it actually stayed the right way. It just jammed because apparently the new one from the same manufacturer
Mm-hmm.
has a smaller diameter in the internal than the one I just took off from that same manufacturer.
And yeah, when we say new one, we mean like they can't be manufactured more than like 2 weeks apart.
All same manufacturer. There we go. Get that one out. Try a smaller one. Got it on. I don't have a screw that's long enough that fits this threading, but I've got it on a screw to see if I can get it in there.
Yep, and we're just using it as a spacer since it's just that quarter bit of travel is not traveling far enough. Maybe we can.
Yep, that one actually clears. I can't even get to let go of the screw, so that's a good sign. I'll use the nail to set it in there, then push it back.
So that way, when the brake booster presses, it presses against the washer, the nut, and the piston, and we got ourselves actual working brakes.
Because there we go. Aha! And there it goes. And the fact that it's not resisting at all tells me that, yeah. See, technically, once this goes in, that piston arm should be against the mating surface for the master. The fact that that just slid on, I didn't have to fight anything with it, tells me that it wasn't. It still may not be. That nut isn't quite as big as the other one was. So, but we'll try it and see. And if I have to, I can add another one.
Yeah. When you fix your brakes with a nut, you are officially
Sometimes you feel
crazy.
like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Ow.
Does this make an?
Ow.
Does
That's
this
hot.
Yes, it is. Does that make this an Almond Joy?
Nah.
Almond Joy has nuts.
I know.
It's got a nut.
They're not a sponsor either.
No, they're not sponsored. Not sponsored. What do you get in Crazy Carl projects? You get how to repair vehicles crazily, and you get old freaking whatchamacallits from the 80s.
Don't lean your wrench on the radiator after the car's been running for a while. It gets hot.
Yeah.
There's another one of those wonderful, useful tips.
I'm not putting random advice on that because that's kind of a duh. That's like to me telling you don't run outside with a metal baseball bat in the middle of a thunderstorm. Yeah.
Oh, come on. It's entertaining.
People know that. Metal conducts.
Well, it was on plastic. That's why I forgot. I didn't realize it was on top of it.
But sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Well, you know, Almond Joy, they say that has nuts.
Mouse don't.
Because
You know we probably won't be able to use this.
we can use it. Yes, we are technically repeating lines of a commercial jingle, but it's a celebratory commercial jingle. They'll let us celebrate.
Even better, they sponsor.
Yeah.
Heck, I'd be happy with just, a good supply of mounds.
Yes, we are the ones. We like mounds. I enjoy Almond Joy, but I like mounds too.
I've never been all that big on the Almond Joy. I think the mounds are better. I think the dark chocolate's better.
I think they're both good. They're not my favorite candy bar.
Oh, they're both good.
Yeah. My favorite candy bar was like a Butterfinger for a while. When I first grew up, it was Rolos. I loved Rolos.
Mounds is still one of my favorites.
Well, I liked Rolos because they're basically building blocks
Oh, yeah.
made of chocolate. I'd unwrap them and I'd build things with them.
Whoa, hello.
Do we have brakes?
We may have brakes.
That was a good whoa, hello.
2 pumps and I had pressure. That's a good sign.
Looks like we got brakes. Or no?
Push the brake down for me.
All right.
I want to see if it's moving. I don't think I have quite enough spacer in there. That's throttle.
I figured that out. To the floor.
All right, lift back.
Release.
All right, and all the way out.
Floor.
All right. Okay. I might need another spacer.
All right.
I think I need a little additional spacer, but that is fixing it.
Cool.
So, I have brake, I just don't have full brake yet. So I got to put a little more spacer in there and we'll have it. Turn it off.
Give me the key. Thank you. So, does that fix it?
I think it has. It's probably a little more spacer than I needed, but yeah. But I seem to be building pressure.
All right, now we just need to tighten the master cylinder down and then we're done.
And I'll try it, take it for a drive, see.
All righty.
And seeing if we got enough brake to drive.
That looked like it was a hard stop. That is a hard stop.
Not great.
What's that?
Still not great.
That's stopping though.
Yeah. You're not going to get a panic stop, that's for sure. Let me see if I can get it to adjust.
All right.
I have brakes. They kind of suck, but I have brakes.
Kind of sucky brakes is better than no brakes.
Yep, it's drivable.
All right.
So, it's drivable again. Although I went to go get gas and realized I don't have my credit card.
You might need that.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, there we go. We got it drivable. He's out here doing one-wheel peels.
I know.
That's the next thing to be fixed.
Yeah, different.
Alrighty, y'all have a good one. If you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe.
So long.